Hello and welcome everyone to the iRacing Stock Car Association Tucson Sound Art Cup and Super Cup Series here. We have the presentation here of the Charles Shaw 110 at Sonoma Raceway. Qualifying is underway right now. We just transferred over from live practice. Definitely excited to see what these guys have in store for us. We had a great race on Thursday. Fuel definitely came into play. Excited to see what tonight looks like. Got a kind of a new cast of characters. We got some guys that definitely did race on Thursday, some guys that didn't. Definitely excited to see what exactly transpires. I mean, Travis Manning out here right now qualifying. Chris Severa has been showing some tremendous speed. I know in practice here, Pedro Enrique really burning it down, getting a really fast lap, minute 14.7, which was really fast. I think that was faster than anything we saw on Thursday. But of course, I am joined in the booth by Big Al. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. How are you, Big Al?
Doing pretty good there, Brian. Glad to be still hanging out in wine country. You know, this place is as smooth as Paulo.
That it is, very much so. And thanks to our sponsor, Charles Shaw, for coming on board here for tonight's race. Definitely excited to, see how the points kind of settle out. I know Chris Severa in charge of kind of the points on both sides. And let's take a quick look at those points. Looking at the actual Cup Series standings here, Chris Severa out front with 4 wins, 611 points. Ryan Strunk right now has I do believe 489 points, so he's right now in second. I do not see him actually in the grid here so far, so maybe he'll be a last-minute kind of person that comes in. Greg Wychinski right now, third place in the points, not that far back from Ryan Strunk. So if Greg Wychinski has himself a good finish here tonight, he could find himself maybe moving up to the second points position here. Eric Kling right now, fourth place. Kenny Powell in fifth. Al Kozlowski, sixth place. Seventh place is Gary Adamson. Eighth place is going to be Kenny Thompson. Ninth place, Robert Pattengale. 10th place, Paul Olson. That is the point standings right now for the Cup Series. Next up is going to be the Super Cup Series. Which, looking at the Super Cup Series here, Chris Severa with 5 wins, 12 top 5, 786 points, 254 points ahead of Eric Kling right now. Kling definitely wanting to have himself a great race here tonight. Definitely has made it clear that he really wants to get to victory lane here, and I think he might have the speed to do it. But definitely going to be some guys that are pretty close in pace. Also, Justin Levine right now in third place in the points. Jose Acosta fourth place in the points. Noah Bitts fifth. Kenny Powell in sixth. Josh Schaffner in seventh. Clayton Hoffman right now eighth place in the points. Ninth place Ryan Strunk. 10th place, Greg Wychinski, and those are the Super Cup points right now. Take a look here at the race facts here for the Charles Shaw 110 at Sonoma. 500 laps, 55 laps here. These guys are set to undertake. Stages are going to be at 11 and 22. These guys are going to have five tire sets here. To, in the pits, definitely going to be probably using every bit of those. But then again, tire wear hasn't been too incredibly, really, a variable, to be honest with you. I think fuel's really the biggest variable here. 30 laps on the tank. That means that final stage is going to be cutting it really close on fuel here.
Absolutely, Brian. And we did see on Thursday a lot of drivers at the end said, hey, I thought I was kind of pushing that fuel limit just a little bit, but then I actually had a little bit left in the tank. So it will be interesting to see what kind of pit strategies we do see, because we will see pit strategies because there are 2 stages in this, and there are no cautions in road races. So going to get a chance for drivers to experiment and possibly see what works best. I don't think everybody will be doing the same thing. And overall, I think it should be a pretty exciting race here. Looks like that track temperature is somewhere around 122 degrees. That's a little sticky. But, yeah, everything else is lining up pretty good for us, Brian.
Yeah, you mentioned it. This track temperature pretty high, 122. Wind direction's coming from the south, and wind speed's pretty high right now, 10 miles an hour. Partly cloudy. That could definitely shade some parts of the track and also make it a little bit cooler in some areas. Such a big racetrack, almost 2 miles. So definitely going to be difficult for these guys to, definitely judge how the car is going to react when you got, such, I think, conditions that are unpredictable, I think, here tonight.
Yeah, and another thing, we just recently had an update within the sim of iRacing, so that's going to actually allow us to see possibly some, at least a new damage model, and I'm interested to see if the tires are affected at all. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. It didn't really affect them much on Thursday. Like you said, tires were not really the big factor. Big factor was fuel, and I think we're going to be back on that same kind of spin here this evening.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the longer these guys went, that the quicker they were going. I mean, to be honest with you, it almost looked a lot like what we kind of see. I know me and you calling that a, race for the leading edge sim series on seeing those P217s. Like tire wear didn't seem to matter here at at road courses, and I think that the next gen's kind of making a move towards that. Lighter that car gets, the faster the times we're seeing here. I do believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do believe we have a little bit over 3 minutes here left in qualifying, and looks like almost everyone has completed their qualifying lap. Some guys look like they're electing to not qualify. Interesting. I think track position is going to be very much key here. But also, really, I think one thing we determined on Thursday was limiting your mistakes. I think was one of the biggest factors because we saw a lot of guys making mistakes. And one thing about a track like Sonoma, you really have to be focused. You lose focus for just a split second, and you could find yourself driving right off the track or hitting the wall or something like that. And there's sand all over the place, and that sand does not have a lot of grip when you hit it. That's for sure. And you can attack a lot of these curves very hard, but if you attack it a little too hard, we've seen that upset the race car. Also, this place definitely a lot of elevation changes to it. I mean, I don't think our view here really does it justice. Big Al.
Yeah, I know this track does rise and fall with the turns, which allows it to be a little bit challenging for the drivers. But I think this field that we got here situated tonight looks like a field of 14 or 13. But yeah, I think these guys are going to definitely put on a show for us. Be interesting to see where this thing breaks off. Some guys are better at road courses than others. So that would be a breaker in the pack, and hopefully we can actually keep everybody on that lead lap for long. I know that on that Thursday night race, we actually I think we had lap cars by the time we were at the end of the first stage, Brian.
Yeah, we definitely did, and a lot of guys get really demotivated whenever they go a lap down here because I mean it's so difficult to get that lap back. And one thing that we really saw a lot of, I think it was Joseph Lester, if I'm not mistaken, had some really interesting pit calls where he would kind of short pit the stage and kind of get up to the front. He did that a couple times, and also he had an amazing pit strategy too in that final stage. He was the fastest all night by far, and that pit strategy we even saw kind of some contact, some drama kind of unfolding between him and Matt DeCiani. But that was what a race to watch there. Here's I do believe we have a minute here left in qualifying. Just a few. I think just in a little bit, we're going to go ahead and take a quick step away from here and play the national anthem. I think we'll go ahead and play a commercial, and then we'll go right into the national anthem. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine! And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe Big Al is standing by with the grid.
Yeah, that's right. Your starting grid looks like Eric Kling is going to be on that pole position. He's going to have alongside him Chris Severa. Row 2 shows us Travis Manning with Kendall LeBron. Row 3, Greg Wachinski. On the outside of him, Kenny Powell. Row 4 finds Pedro Enrique and Brian Johnson. Row 5, Kyle Groen and Jose Acosta. Row 6 is going to have Robert Pattengale and Al Keselowski. That's going to put Kyle Green as that 13th car that's going to be here running with us today.
Yeah, I do believe that actually is Paul Olson there on the back row in 13th. But here we go. Green flag soon to be waving in the air as we doing a little bit of pacing here. Pace car is down pit road. Definitely excited to get this thing going here. Is Eric Kling going to lead the field to green? He gets a nice jump, though, but great job there from Travis Manning. Going to be on the inside here, side by side for second place with Chris Severa. Interesting to see, you know, we see Pedro Enrique. He was the fastest in practice. Interesting that he elected, I don't believe, to qualify. Back now in 11th place.
Yeah, we only had 6 cars electing to qualify, but that's not too surprising. I think drivers just want to try to feel it out here and kind of establish their own racing group. It is hard for drivers to pass through the field here, but with the amount of laps that we got, that should not be a problem. Looks like Eric Kling is going to continue to lead this field around on this first lap. Chris Severa tucked in behind him in second, Brian.
Kenny Powell right now trying to battle with Greg Wachinski. He's right now in 5th place. You see Brian Johnson. He was pretty quick in practice also. Would not be surprised to see him start to drive through this field.
Yeah, Brian Johnson actually had a pretty good race Thursday, so I don't see why he wouldn't be able to duplicate his efforts here tonight as this field is coming on around, getting ready to put this first lap in the books. And I'm going to tell you, if this racing continues to go like this, it might be pretty exciting.
Well, I definitely think it will be very exciting. And you know, you mentioned about those guys that raced on Thursday. They're going to have definitely a big advantage when it comes to, you know, kind of having that rhythm. This is definitely a track you don't just show up and race at. As we got some changes in position here. Pedro Enrique able to get around Jose Acosta now. Oh, Kenny Powell's off the racetrack. Unfortunate as he tries to dive in front of Robert Pattengale. Definitely problem there for Kenny Powell. And I know he went a lap down on Thursday. He is going to want to do everything he can to avoid that here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As Eric Kling continues to lead, Chris Severa is definitely going to school. Him and Travis Manning both, they're definitely, looks like they're following that line of Eric Kling pretty good. Definitely put down some pretty good lap times. I know it's going to be a lot faster here on this second lap than it was the first lap, but so far so good, Brian.
And we talked about Pedro Enrique being the fastest in practice. He has already made his way up to 6th right now. He is clearly the biggest mover so far already, as now he dives underneath Greg Wachinski. And he is making passes by the second here up to now 5th place. Brian Johnson and Greg Wachinski right now side by side. Brian Johnson looks like he's got the momentum to make that pass happen. He moves himself up to 6th place. Definitely a nice job here from Kendall LeBron right now, hanging out in 4th place, but he is soon going to be under fire from Pedro in that 114 machine.
Yeah, and Pedro is definitely on a mission here. If you can just watch, he's now getting ready to try to work around that 2-8 car.
Not going to be easy, though. Definitely got to pick your battles here. Oh, someone's around. Travis Manning out of 3rd, spins around. I want to take a quick look back and see what just happened.
Just like that, Pedro Enrique now looks like he is going to be up in that 4th place position.
We're watching right now to see exactly what happened with Manning, and he clipped those you know, those rumble strips. You see a lot of guys attacking that area. Apparently, it unsettled the car.
Well, the good thing is I don't know if he actually made contact, so he should just be able to get that thing back running and be able to restore order, if you will. But the 95 and the 62, they're definitely putting on a clinic. It seems that they're in a little bit of a different race, but now Pedro is clear, and he will be definitely trying to join the fray, if you will. Don't think anybody's going to be in between him. We'll just be watching his lap times and seeing just how long it takes him to catch those leaders.
Yeah, looking at his lap times right now, he was a bit slower than those guys up in the top two. But now that he has gotten clear and kind of has some clean, you know, real estate to be able to go forward, I think he is starting to catch those guys pretty quickly. He's now 6 seconds back. Actually, no, I'm going to strike that out. 7 seconds back from the leader, Eric Kling. We're also kind of watching Kendall LeBron. He's trying to hold off Brian Johnson. Johnson runs up to him. That's one thing about this track. You know, you're going to see guys, you know, be faster than one another, but it's one thing to catch someone, it's another thing completely to make a pass happen. And I think this track is definitely one of those places where you definitely have to pick your moments. You can't pass everywhere on this track.
Yeah, what you'll see is just you hit the nail right on the head. Some of these guys are definitely faster on different parts of the racetrack than others, and you will definitely see that manifest itself. So guys will be right on a guy's bumper there for 1 second, and then next thing you know, he'll be gone now. Brian Johnson is definitely going to be trying to get a round to 28. That's what he is working with right now. We'll be watching that battle as it goes on there. I believe that battle is going to be for fourth place.
And this is the closest fight on the racetrack right now. Eric Kling has actually pulled away a little bit here on Chris Severa. 1.8 seconds in between those two. And Pedro Enrique is definitely going to be happy to see that as he catches up to Chris Severa. Right now, 5 seconds separate those two. But still, the fight for fourth place right now is on, and this is the most exciting battle we got on the racetrack. And the more Kendall LeBron slows down Brian Johnson, the more Greg Wyszynski could come into play here.
Yeah, and as we get, you know, through this first stage, it looks like we're coming right up on just halfway in the first stage. But it is going to be something that I'm going to be watching, and that is to see if anybody is going to start maybe to try to take that stage gamble, Brian, and come down pit road a little bit on the early side. That way they can get track position, because the one thing that we did notice about this track position is everything, man. It is, especially for the lead. It is hard to pass at this track.
Oh, my word. And Pedro Enrique turns a lap that was pretty comparable what he did in practice. He hit a minute 14.9. That is the fastest lap of the race so far. That was over a second faster than the leaders. That is interesting to see. I mean, Pedro lighting them up right now.
Yep, and just like that, looks like Jose Acosta has got his hands full, as Travis Manning is definitely in his back, a rearview mirror, trying to get around him. Acosta's running pretty good, but, you know, Manning is definitely going to be trying to get his car back up to that front, because he actually spun out there on out of third place.
Yeah, right now Travis Manning turning, I do believe, some very quick lap times. He's definitely got a car that can run in the top three 100% as he's trying to get around Acosta. But the thing is, you make one mistake, you're going to dwell on that mistake probably later in this race. So hopefully Travis Manning has a short memory, because a lot of times when you dwell on that mistake, you're likely to make it again.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good, as he just slipped on by the 42, and that's going to give him line share of that 7th position, I do believe.
And Brian Johnson still struggling to try to get around Kendall LeBron. I mean, I think passing, it just seems like it's so difficult. One of the major passing zones is where we just saw these guys go through. I mean, you get tight, go up the racetrack through there. That's where a guy is going to really take advantage and try to make that pass happen. This is one of those tracks where you really have to wait for that guy in front of you to make a mistake. You kind of have to have patience. But later in this race, patience might wear thin, and you can see someone maybe even bump someone out of the way.
There's Brian Johnson. Looks like he is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Brian Johnson just made it by Kendall LeBron, so now that looks like he is going to go ahead and take in that 4th place position, as he is now on a roll.
I think they even were rubbing a little bit there. Kendall LeBron definitely showing a lot of patience, not turning Brian Johnson as he's sent it on him.
Yeah, and Travis Manning, just like that, looks like he just passed Greg Wachinski now, moving himself up to 6th.
Yeah, he is running some very quick laps right now. He's faster than most of the guys that are in front of him, except for, of course, the top 3. Pedro Enrique still turning some very incredibly fast laps right now. He is running down Chris Severa, only 3 seconds separating those two now. And Travis Manning right now on his way up to Kendall LeBron, trying to work his way back up into the top 5.
And looks like Robert Pattingale is going to go ahead and slip on by Kenny Powell. And that's going to put Kenny Powell, I believe, in that 10th place position, and Robert Pattingale moves up to 9th.
Pattingale looking really good, and he's been one, that's been one to watch for sure. Never been known for doing, like the best work. But I'll tell you what, recent memory from him, he has just been tearing it up, doing a great job, getting good finishes. And I think the reason that he's getting these good finishes is because he sticks with it.
Just like that, man, looks like Kendall LeBron has got his back window full. That 18 car Travis Manning actually just bumped him a little bit to kind of like let him know that, hey, not only do I not like being behind you, but you're aggravating me. Now that 18 car going to try to move by on the inside, those two make contact. 28's not going to give up. Manning is definitely driving that car really hard here. Now, I don't know, but I think that 28's probably going to say, get over there and tell the spotter he better get off me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely Travis Manning trying to do everything he can here to get by Kendall LeBron, and that could spur a mistake. It could cause both of these guys to get into an accident. You definitely don't want to see that. But I do believe Manning's coming into a little bit of a passing zone here. We'll see if he can make it. He gets underneath them. Oh, and he is going to make that pass stick, and he is now up into the top 5 once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has definitely been on a mission since spinning out of 3rd place. But now, with Jose Enrique now closing that gap there, he is definitely caught up to the 62, who is in turn caught up to the 95.
Yeah, Jose Enrique. Pedro Enrique definitely has been catching up to that 62 100%. I mean, he is now less than 2 seconds away here. But the thing is, the closer and closer he gets to Severa, probably the less handling he's going to have on that race car. But I don't think that's been dissuading him so far, as he's been moving through this field. Started back in 11th place, now up to 3rd. I mean, this guy cannot be stopped.
Yeah, absolutely. As the leaders are coming, it looks like pit road will be closed on this lap.
Of course, we mentioned it before. We're going to have stage breaks at 11 and 22. So when the 10th place car crosses the start-finish line on lap 12, that is when we will see that caution flag wave, and we'll declare the stage 1 winner. Hopefully be able to have a conversation with him. I mean, we'll have to see who it's going to be, though, because Eric Kling, I think he's got the ability. I think it's going to take too much for Pedro, considering he's going to have to try to get by Chris Severa and Eric Kling. That's going to be quite a difficult task. But I'll tell you what, Chris Severa has truly caught up here to Eric Kling. He was over a second back. I think it was 1.8 at one point. Now has clawed it back to now under a second. Chris Severa looking fast right now. He is hitting minute 15.3, which is definitely the second quickest we've seen so far here tonight.
Yeah, but unfortunately for those guys just like that, they're going to be running up onto Al Keselowski. It looks like Paul Olsen is on pit road. Maybe Al Keselowski would do the same thing and dip in to let those leaders go by without causing them any strife, if you will.
I don't know. I think he decided to do something different there. So he has stayed out. Interesting for Paul Olsen to, make that decision. Of course, I do believe he might find himself being a lucky. No, he's actually out of the car. That is unfortunate. As here comes the leaders trying to get around Al Keselowski. Looks like Eric Kling going to manage to get by him just fine. Chris Severa there going to get by, and Pedro Enrique. Enrique right on the back end now of Chris Severa. The fight for seconds getting ready to heat up.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is just showing you how fast those three are. Now, once we get ready to go under caution here, what's going to be interesting that I think is these guys their real race is going to be that race off of pit road. Or do you even pit? Track position being what it is, there's probably not a real legitimate reason to actually come down pit road here, Brian.
No, that's a very good point. you know, 30 laps on the fuel run here. Of course, stages on 11 and 22. I mean, that means that you can make it both these. And we saw Joseph Lester do exactly that on Thursday. He didn't pit at all in you know, stage 1. So curious. I mean, could we see someone kind of decide to do something similar, some off the wall kind of strategies? I think it's definitely possible. I think, especially for a guy like maybe Chris Severa or Pedro Enrique. I mean, they have the pace to probably keep that position. As here we go, crossing the start-finish line, waiting on the top 10 to cross. And then that will conclude this stage. Eric Kling right now, looking like he is going to be our stage 1 winner. Here comes Pedro Enrique until the caution flies. That's, you know, Pedro still has a chance to maybe claw second away from Chris Severa, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it happen.
Well, yeah, this thing is far from over because we still have to wait. And looks like Kenny Powell is going to be holding that 10th place position. Now, he will probably see the leaders coming up on him. So basically what I'm saying with that is I think this caution is going to come just at the right time for him.
Yeah, he's got to make it across the line first. Here's Eric Kling and Chris Severa battling hard right now. Definitely desperate. They know they have seconds left until the caution comes out. As here comes Kenny Powell, going to cross the line, and I do believe that is going to conclude stage 1, and there he is, cross the line.
Caution, yellow flag.
And that is going to put our stage 1 caution out here. Eric Kling, your stage 1 winner, able to fight off Chris Severa. And I'll tell you what, Big Al, Severa was charging. And who wouldn't charge? Just considering, I mean, think about it. You got Pedro Enrique right there putting a lot of pressure on you.
Now, just like that, Travis Manning is definitely going to try to find his way back up there. So, Brian, you know.
Oh, he actually lost it. He took a toe. What just happened with Travis Manning? Coming to the stage completion, we see Travis Manning loses it and takes a toe. And guess what? I do believe it was the same spot that he had problems before. This time it looked a little bit different. But man, that's a killer there. He's going to take a toe. I think that might be it for him.
Well, he did actually have a little bit more contact on that one. So if he does elect to stay in that race car, it is going to take a while for him to get all the way back around before they can even start to repair. So, you know, I think that's just going to be another thing that we're going to have to watch out and see what happens.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Oh, split decisions here. Chris Severa down pit road.
Yeah, looks like Severa is the only one of the top 3 that is selecting to come down pit road.
Well, why don't we take a quick step away, and we'll let these guys figure out what they're going to do here, and we'll hopefully be able to dial up Eric Kling. And we are back, and I do believe we have the man himself, our stage 1 winner, up in the booth. Eric, how are you doing, man? I mean, you look like you were pretty quick out there, but under a lot of fire, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I thought I had a lot better pace than that. I keep missing my corners, and, you know, I saw with Pedro, he had started in the back. I know he's quicker, but I'm thinking he makes more mistakes. But, I mean, so far he hasn't done that, so I don't know if he's gotten some of that done. But, I mean, he's pretty quick. And then, of course, you got Chris behind me, so Chris usually picks things up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it seemed like that's where a lot of the fight was coming from was Chris Severa. I think probably desperation seeing Pedro coming up there. interesting decision you made to kind of stay out during this this caution here. What went into that? Do you just think that tires don't matter as much here tonight?
No, no, and I ran a race a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, I mean, where 53 was my fastest lap ever, with the original tires. So I know that fuel, I can make it until the next stop, and or the next caution, and should be able to get fuel then.
All right, we're getting a little bit of feedback there. Not sure what was going on there, but yeah, definitely interesting that the tires don't matter quite as much here. Of course, fuel definitely going to be a concern. How are you going to, do you have a strategy for that final stage? Because that's going to be the one that's going to really matter.
I was gonna go on it. I was gonna start it and see where it plays out. If it's gonna take fuel, it's gonna take fuel. I don't find myself trying to save or anything like that. So I'm gonna have to beat him on speed.
Uh-oh, we got a delayed caution here. Or it looks like we're not going to be going green this time, but great job on your stage 1 win. Who can we shout out tonight for you, Eric Klingen?
G&G, you guys for everything you do. Family for not killing me for doing this. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
All right, well, we definitely look forward to seeing if we could talk to you later. Hopefully you can get that victory. I know that you desperately wanted it here tonight. I heard a lot of rumors saying, hey, I got the speed to do it. I'm going to try to do it. Hopefully you can. We definitely be rooting for you, buddy.
Yep, I definitely feel like I've lost some of that speed, but, hopefully by the end here I'm going to pick it back up.
All right, time will tell. Good luck, bud. That is Eric Kling, our stage 1 victor. Curious to see how the rest of this thing is going to go. Looks like we had a little bit of some problems there. We got a delayed caution here. Maybe something going on the racetrack there, Big Al. Did you see exactly what happened there?
I think the field hasn't got itself situated yet. It's the only thing I can imagine is going on there, Brian.
Well, I do believe we'll probably be going green this next time by here. The pace car light's soon to turn off. And definitely a lot of guys, I think, having a little bit of trouble here. Especially Travis Manning. That was just crazy to see how that all kind of unfolded. Losing it on the, right at the end of the stage there. Got to be kicking himself over that. And interesting decision here from Pedro Enrique. We saw him actually was one of the guys that actually went down pit road. That is going to be an interesting development there to see him drive through the field once again.
Yeah, I don't know if he imagined that everybody would have pitted or not, but, like Kling said, he probably needed to get a little damage fixed. Looks like Travis Manning has vacated the race. I don't seem to see him right now.
Yeah, I do believe he is out of the race right now. Al Kozlowski, 1 lap down. Of course, Paul Olson also has made his exit here. But you could definitely see the problem spots, kind of Travis having that problem in the same spot. And just shows you, you can attack that part of the racetrack. And we've seen, Pedro, I know, was doing it and was very successful at it. I think it's just a very slippery slope. I mean, I don't think you get as much traction on those rumble strips or curb, if you will.
I know, and if you hit them, you just got to hit them the right way, because those cars, and we've seen this happen in more than just one race, if you don't hit those rumble strips the right way, they will hit back. And unfortunately for drivers, when that happens, they find themselves getting a little discombobulated, and, usually an OCC will occur.
Definitely. As, of course, the pace car lights are out, we have concluded stage 1. Eric Kling was our stage 1 victor. We still have another stage here to go. Going to be ending on lap 22, going to 23. And here comes the green flag soon to come out. We see the pace car, that Porsche, already down pit road. Eric Kling going to lead us here to green. And there he is, going a little bit early there, way before the start-finish line there. And he gets clear. Excellent work there from Eric Kling. But here comes Chris Severa. He says, I'm not going to let you get away, buddy.
No, Severa definitely going to probably try to keep Kling a little bit closer. Now, these two and Al Kozlowski were the only drivers electing to stay out under that last caution. So You know, this is just going to be a run for these guys. Oh, looks like Severa's going to go ahead and go by clean on the inside.
Yeah, what a bold move there from Chris Severa, able to take that lead away. Here comes Brian Johnson. We talked about you know, Johnson was one of the fast guys in practice, but started deep in the field. Now he's up to third, and he's starting to put a little bit of pressure on Eric Kling too. So Kling, I think he's got his hands full here, and I'm sure that was not according to plan. Him losing that lead this early here in the stage. He was able to keep it for pretty much the entire stage one, and for him to lose it this early. Man, that's definitely got to be disheartening for him.
Yeah, we still got a lot of racing left. Woo! Looks like we had a car that was off the track there just a little bit.
Kendall LeBron, I do believe, at 28.
Getting a little sideways.
Yeah, definitely don't want to do that. That's for sure. Ooh, you could tell, definitely getting very sideways there. Just shows you, you know, you got to be so gentle on the throttle here. You know, all these elevation changes definitely, you know, can unload the car and, you know, cause you to, you know, spin out. You got to be really careful with that throttle application.
Yep, and just like that, Pedro Enriquez resumes right where he left off now. It looks like he just went by Greg Wachinski now, and that's going to put Pedro up to that fourth place position. And now I think he's going to be probably trying to move on up to Brian Johnson.
Yeah, I think it's going to be business as usual here from Pedro Enrique, as he has been just so quick. But, I mean, like Eric Kling said, I mean, he thinks he's prone to mistakes. Could that be the case? Maybe he saw something, you know, watched him in practice and kind of saw that he wasn't very consistent. Could that have, you know, definitely could be something to that.
Oh, yeah, that could be, but we'll see what happens because Enrique has, you know, this time he's a lot closer to the lead than he was when this race started. So now he's actually already up to fourth and looks like he's going to be getting ready to be doing business with Brian Johnson here relatively quick. And then he'll be on his way up there to Kling and Severa, making it a lot sooner this time on the fresher tires. I don't know what his strategy is going to be, but I think we'll be finding out here pretty shortly.
We definitely will be, as Pedro Enrique now 7/10 back from Brian Johnson. But you're right, he is starting a little bit. Oh, there he is, able to get by him with one swift move. What a job there from Pedro Enrique. He is just, he's a tough customer. That 114 looks like, I mean, you know, a lot of times we talk about these races, you know, we have that road course ringer. I think Pedro is that road course ringer. I mean, we've seen him before at some of the oval tracks, and he has not shown this kind of pace.
Well, while Pedro was passing Johnson, Severa actually relinquished the lead back to Kling. So that means now, just like when it started, so Pedro now going to be reeling in Severa, and then we'll see if he can actually make the move on him now. So we do have some 7 laps to go in this stage.
Chris Severa getting a little bit loose on the exit there, so maybe that you know, could have made some adjustments to that race car. You know, could the track temp also be changing? What's the track temp right now, Big Al?
Track temp's 125 right now. It's 3 degrees up from where it was when we started this thing, and just like that, looks like Jose Acosta is going to go ahead and slip on by Kenny Powell. That's going to put Jose into that 7th place position.
And you can see the lap times right on your screen here. Pedro Enrique able to hit a minute 15.236. That is much faster than what the guys ahead of him are doing. And he's going to be capitalizing really quickly here. Pedro now 1.2 back from Chris Severa.
Yeah, Al Kozlowski just rolled on down pit road there. I don't think he just got him a little cup of coffee or something, but he wasn't down there long, so we'll see what happens with that.
And we saw earlier, you know, Robert Pattengale was able to catch up and pass Kenny Powell. Curious if he's going to be able to do that again. He's definitely been showing some impressive speed right now. He's even running faster times than Jose Acosta. I think Robert Pattengale's got top 6 material right here if he can keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he did pass Kenny Powell in the last stage, so you know we well, we assume that he is faster than Powell. So, yeah, I definitely think you're right. Patton Gill will probably see himself, top 6, top 5 maybe tonight.
Yeah, definitely could be the case. As last time by, he actually was a little bit even faster than Greg Wachinski, who is in the 5th position. Pedro Enrique has caught up here to Chris Severa, now within a second of one another. And Pedro Enrique just turned his fastest lap of the race, minute 14.729. No one's close. But then again, Eric Kling, last time by, was able to hit a minute 15.1, and his actual fastest lap of the race, just notice this, is a minute 14.989. So I do believe Kling might be hitting a stride here, Big Al.
Well, he said that in the previous race that he ran, his fastest laps were on 53 lap old tires. So, he hadn't pit yet, and he seems to definitely be maintaining his speed at a minimum. Enrique, though, is now up in that top 3, so he's definitely going to be trying to make that conversation more about him than them.
That is right. Eric Kling has separated here from Chris Severa. About a second separate them, a second separating second and third also. Ryan Johnson right now, he is 8 seconds behind the leader. Greg Wachinski, he's about 8 seconds back from Brian Johnson. Jose Acosta right now 10 seconds back from Greg Wachinski. Kenny Powell 5 seconds back. Robert Pattengale has caught back up here to Kenny Powell.
And Keselowski's back on pit road, so I'm assuming that Keselowski probably won't be. Well, he's back on the move again. Not sure what's going on with the 88, but maybe he's working some issues out or making adjustments. We'll have to just keep monitoring him. And
he is 3 laps down right now, so. But at least he was able to get a position from Kendall LeBron. Just as Kendall LeBron out of the race car, I just noticed that. Curious what happened there with Kendall LeBron. I mean, we definitely missed that. It definitely looked like he had a top 8.
Chris Severa getting really, really loose there coming off that turn. That's probably going to open the door for Jose Enrique. Once Severa came off of that last horseshoe there, he just kind of bopped it a little bit, and Enrique was right there behind him, just like a lion waiting to pounce.
Oh, yeah, he is waiting and definitely waiting to spring a trap here on Chris Severa, waiting for any kind of sign of weakness here. And Severa has been weak through that set of area, that part. I mean, we've seen him getting really loose on exit. And, we talked about the track temp going up to, 125. I'm curious if that has anything to do with it, and also did he make any adjustments? Maybe he felt like he was too tight. And there goes Pedro Enrique, able to get right by. I do believe Severa just letting him go. No point in fighting someone that's that fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we'll just see how long it takes for Pedro Enrique to catch up to Eric Kling.
Kling's definitely turning some really good laps right now. I would not be surprised to see Kling maybe able to hold off, Pedro, considering we've seen it already tonight, in stage 1. It was not that hard to try to hold someone off. If you just held the right line and didn't make mistakes, they had to fight hard to try to get around you. As Severa definitely is having some problems coming out of that last set of corners.
Well, we saw that on Thursday night with DeCiani and Lester. DeCiani was definitely out front, and Lester had the fastest car, but he just couldn't get around him. And, I mean, he threw everything at Matt DeCiani except for the kitchen sink,
And now I do believe going to be 2 laps to go whenever Eric Kling crosses the line this next time by for this stage. Can Kling go back-to-back with stage victories? That is something to definitely talk about. He is looking really good. He actually ran a faster lap than Pedro Enrique last time by. I think Kling, he is definitely hitting his stride. Talked about that before the race. I know guys were telling me that Kling, he definitely feels like he's got the pace to win this thing. He's determined, and I think that's what you're going to need to actually close it here tonight.
Yep, you said it exactly right.
Robert Pattengale was really closing in on Kenny Powell, but I do believe he must have had an issue. He is still right now in 8th place, 1.3 back from Kenny Powell. Definitely Pedro Enrique right now 1.3 back from Eric Kling. Chris Severa right now about the same distance back from Pedro. So, I mean, hopefully Chris can maybe watch Pedro, because that's one thing about a track like this. You know, it's all about memorization and everything like that, and getting that muscle memory. Well, if you're able to follow someone else, you're able to figure out what he's doing and try to replicate it, or even try to do it better. See where someone's weaker. Eric Kling does not have that benefit right now. As whenever you're out front, it is a little more anxiety-inducing. Big Al. I think you've even mentioned something similar before.
Yeah, but Kling, I think he's good. I think he hit the nail right on the head. He said that, he knows that Pedro is a little faster, but instead of him worrying about that, he's just going to continue to drive his own race. And I think that's about all that anybody can ask him to do. And if he continues to do that, Enrique won't be able to get around it.
Well, we talked about this, I think, on Thursday. This is a track to where, intimidation factor definitely comes into play here. I mean, if Enrique starts putting a lot of pressure on Eric, could he fold? I don't know. I mean, I do believe the white flag is out for the stage. And everybody up to 8th right now, still on the lead lap. 9th place right now is 4 laps down. That is Al Kozlowski. Robert Pattengill, though, I don't know. He's definitely not in danger of going a lap down right now, but could be in that final stage. That final stage is going to be the tricky one, considering we talked about the fuel window and that being the real thing here. I mean, could we see some guys try to stretch it? It's definitely possible, but I don't know if it's very, I don't know if it's viable, Big Al. We didn't see anybody able to do it on Thursday, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. It might be a little close. That's all I'm going to say. We're just going to have to see how it plays out. Guys are always going to be willing to take chances. That's what this game's about. It's all about taking chances. Right. Looks like it's going to be a race back to the stripe for the leaders.
A little bit of a blinking issue there for Eric Kling, disappearing for just a moment here. Robert Pattengill is going to be, I do believe, the car once he gets by the start finish line. That is when the caution will come out, if I'm not mistaken. But Pedro Enrique, he is all over the back of Eric Kling right now. This could be very interesting here. Can Pedro make it happen? We saw Eric, kind of fighting off.
Out of control. He is sideways. I mean, that is definitely going to be an issue for him. He can definitely get that car turned back around. If anybody can, it'll be Chris. But yeah, definitely probably not what he was expecting to happen there as he went sliding away.
Well, definitely not. And here comes Robert Pattengill, going to be crossing the start-finish line. And the caution should be coming out now.
Caution, yellow flag.
Eric Kling going to barely hold on to it here. And Kenny Powell almost found himself going a lap down once again. Pedro definitely was trying his best to get around Eric. Looked a lot like what we saw in stage 1 when Chris Severa was kind of in that same position trying to get around Eric Kling. But Kling does hold on, is our stage 2 winner.
Yeah, that's going to put Pedro Enriquez in second, Chris Severa in third, Brian Johnson fourth, Greg Wachisi is going to be in fifth, Jose Acosta coming home in sixth, Kenny Powell seventh, Robert Pattengill is going to be eighth, and that's all of the cars. And Mr. Al Kozlowski rounding out the top 9. And those are the only cars that are still left on the racetrack at this time.
Definitely curious to see what these guys decide to do. Definitely going to be having to pit. The guys, I think Eric Kling and Chris Severa both elected to stay out. So they're probably going to be pitting here. I wonder, do you think we could dial up Jose Acosta? Or not Jose Acosta. I'm sorry, Pedro Enrique.
We actually don't have Pedro.
But you know what? It might be a treat here. We'll talk to Chris Severa once he's completed his pit stop. What do you think, Big Al?
Sure.
Well, let's take a quick step away. We'll be right back with your Stage 2 winner.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe we are going to be speaking with our Chris Severa here. I do believe he finished third in the stage. We're not able to reach Pedro Enrique. Of course, we've already spoken with Eric Kling, but let's see if we can't get Chris Severa up here in the booth. Maybe we can discuss what kind of handling conditions he was having there. Big Al, if you'd like to...
Hey, Chris, this is Big Al. You got me?
I got you.
And so how's everything going down there, boss?
It is something else. It's weird because you got to drive it like a GT4 car, and like the tires don't seem to wear, like there's no lap time fall off. So yeah, I'm just doing all I can to hang on to it.
Yeah, speaking of hanging on to it, looks like you kind of lost it a little bit there at the end of stage 2, but you were actually able to get her back under power. What happened there?
Yeah, it was just trying to see if I could stick with those guys. Just got onto the curb weird, and that just upset it all throughout the entire, what's it called, of the corner. Once it landed, and just sent me sideways, so I just locked it up to keep it off the wall.
So as we get ready to go into this third stage, I think fuel consumption is just going to be the long pole in the tent, if you will. But do you think you got anything for these two guys that are out in front of you there, or Pedro and Eric Kling? You think you got anything for those guys?
We might try something, but we don't really know. If it comes down to like a straight up race, I don't think I'm gonna be able to handle either one of them. I'm gonna need them to like battle and hold each other up for me to even have a shot. But we'll see.
Well, absolutely. You're putting on a great performance here tonight. Congratulations for finishing in the top 3 for the first 2 stages. Before I let you go, anybody like to give a mini shout out to? Because I got a feeling we're probably going to see you up here a little bit later after this race.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I just appreciate Gas and Go putting laps on the sets. Tucson Sound Art for sponsoring the series. Fanatic for the equipment. Yeah, and you guys is always up there in the booth. Really appreciate you.
Hey, thank you, sir, and good luck to you for the rest of the race.
Thanks, guys.
That was Chris Severa, our third place finisher in the last stage, and of course he was a second place finisher in stage 1. Definitely an excellent job he has been doing out here tonight. Getting a little bit loose, but I think he's probably got it all under control. And that loose condition, he elected to not pit on that first stage. So, I mean, could that have been from the fuel, burning off so much?
That's interesting, though, what he has said, because, having to drive this thing kind of like a GT4 car, that's an interesting way to...
Interesting call here from Chris Severa. He's actually going to take it down pit road. We heard the caution was delayed. Interesting decision. This could make it to where it's viable for him to make it to the end.
And that's exactly what he is planning on doing. He is coming down pit road with the intent to fill her up, boss, shove as much fuel in there as he can, and, coast around this racetrack as we get going again so he can save as much gas. And I think he can make it to the end of this thing.
It's going to be close. I mean, we talked about it before. Fuel run here, 30 laps. That's going to leave him too shy of being able to make it.
Remember, Matt DeCiani, who was in the lead of this very same race on Thursday night, just for the Butt Kicker Cup, and he said, you know, he thought it was going to be an issue of him running out of fuel, but once he actually came back, he had enough gas to make it. So with that, I think you can stretch a little bit of fuel out of these things in order to get them to go 32 laps. You know, the biggest question I think is going to be, this is my little old brain over here, is how hard does Eric Kling drive? How hard does Pedro and Enrique drive? How hard is Brian Johnson going to drive? Because if these guys are going to battle each other, Brian, there's no way they're going to be able to conserve fuel.
No, you're definitely right. You're gonna have to really take care of business and try to be as I say resourceful as you can here. I mean, it's gonna slow you down. I mean, we saw on Thursday Joseph Lester, you know, had to make that pit stop. DeCiani didn't have to pit, but still he was caught by Joseph Lester. Could we see kind of a similar instance here with you know, Pedro Enrique?
Yeah, the drivers are going to have to make a decision, because if you're going to have to pit this thing, you know, how soon do you come in? Do you stay out till it's too late, or do you come in too early? You know, because you can do both of those. As now we're getting ready to go back to green, the flag racing, Eric Kling here on the outside, wasting no time to put that hammer down prior to even that restart zone. Maybe, who knows? But you know what? He's going to go ahead and lead this thing and get it going. Now, Pedro Enrique is in third place. We're going to be watching intently to see how patient he is getting around. Well, we're going to see real soon how patient he is getting around Brian Johnson, you know, because he is not going to want to let Eric Kling get away from him.
No, not at all. Just considering, especially they were showing kind of similar speed there on that last stage, and he's going to go to the inside. I think he's going to get this pass completed up to second place. Pedro Enrique goes. Of course, Chris Rivera was able to catch the field, having that late pit stop there. He is going to be able to be right there in contention here. He's working on Pedro or Jose Acosta right now.
Yeah, and I think I think he's actually got his sights set on Greg Wachinski. I think he's going to look right through Jose Acosta, and that's no disrespect to Jose Acosta, but Severa knows what he's got to do, and he's got to look 2 turns down the road there and just keep navigating that Fanatec Ford, sorry.
I'll tell you what, though, I got to say, what did that cone ever do to any of these guys? I swear, every time they come out of these corners, or every time they come around this part of the racetrack, they hit them cones. I'll tell you what, I want to know how much the guy that's getting paid to put that cone back. I want to do that job. I bet that's a lucrative job right there.
Yeah, just put it in concrete. But now look here, Chris Rivera's already moved past Jose Acosta and Greg Wachinski, and he's going to be dialing up Brian Johnson. You know, and as we've already seen now, Pedro around Brian Johnson, and he's going to be seeking Kling. The interesting thing that I'm going to point out right now, Chris Rivera got a little bit more gas in his tank.
Yeah, and he's still showing some really, really good pace right now. He's definitely faster than Brian Johnson. I expect he's going to fight his way back up to third here. Not sure if he's going to have the ability to get up there to Pedro. Oh, and look at that. Severa locks his tires up a little bit. Jose Acosta and Greg Wachinski right now side by side.
Yeah, Jose Acosta definitely trying to go around Wachinski, and it's a little bit of a sigh of relief that pass went by, because if you remember, those two kind of got a little tangled up last Saturday night there at a Gateway, I believe. But here we go, and Acosta now on the move. He's got to be feeling pretty good. Didn't have too good of a finish last week, but now he's up here in the top 5. That's going to be a great payday for those guys unless he can kind of move it up a little bit. Just going to have to be patient, see how this thing wears out. But what I'm going to be watching is, once I think we get about another 15 laps in there, Brian, I think that's when drivers are going to have to start coming out pit road.
Wow, Pedro Enrique hitting his fastest lap of the race again here. Minute 14.691. That is faster than his practice time. Man, he is just putting down some really fast laps right now and has caught up here to Eric Kling. Now they are separated by only 7/10.
But Kling can't worry about what Pedro is doing. He has to drive his own race. He can't be looking in the rearview mirror. We talk about this week in and week out. He's got to be looking forward about where he's going. He cannot drive that car by looking in the rearview mirror every 0.2 of a second, because if he does, he's going to watch Pedro go right by him.
Definitely a great time, I think, to take a cockpit camera here from Pedro Enrique as he catches up here to Eric Kling. And you can see a lot of what, just how it is from these guys' perspectives. The inputs, steering inputs, you can see the RPM gauge, you see, him shifting. And this track takes so much throttle control. Look at that, he just rotates through there so well, but you can tell that he's very on edge.
Yeah, he is driving this thing at the end of its capabilities, putting down lap times that we hadn't seen all week. So, kudos to him on that. But he is definitely sitting on a rocket. That Ford Mustang there, that 114's got, definitely proven to be the fastest car on the track.
And you see how he attacks those curbs too. Wow.
Yeah, but does he have enough to get by Eric Kling? And can he make it stick if he does?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I think Kling picking up the pace a lot too here.
Looks like Paul Olson in that 43 car is actually entering back onto the racing surface. Hey, that's going to give us at least well, Al Koslowski is not currently on the racetrack, so that's still going to put us at 8 or 9.
I think that's why he came back out, because he was like, oh, Al's out. I could probably get that position away, get Kendall's position, Al Koslowski's position, Those positions add up. I think Paul, didn't he do something similar on Thursday?
If Olsen were to actually stay in this car now, you're right. He'll actually move all the way up to 9th place. And so good on him. You can't really fault him for that. That's a heck of a payday.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But still, the fight is on for the lead. Pedro Enrique right there on Eric Kling. Kling trying to hold him off. A dogfight right now going on for that first position.
That's exactly what I was sitting there just thinking. This is indeed a dogfight. This is like Maverick and Ace right here, man. Oh, there's that bump there, making that little bit of contact. That Kling knows. As Dale would say, he was just rattling his cage, letting him know that he's back there. But, here's the question. Pedro has to be careful because, he's going to have to deal with Kling one way or another.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely, I don't know if I would be throwing bumpers right now. Thing is, too, if he just has the right pit strategy, if he, I'm assuming with the pace he's throwing down right now, he's going to have to pit. And,
yeah,
both of these guys are going to have to pit. So, if he can try to shortcut, Eric and maybe get out in front of him that way, that could be a valuable strategy.
Yes, we're halfway through this race right now. But, yeah, those two guys are definitely not that, they are both going to have to pit. I don't think they're even entertaining trying to make it on fuel. But Pedro is really all over Eric Kling right now.
Well, he definitely is. You can even see Chris Severa. He's not turning his fastest laps right now either. I think he has saving in mind.
Of course, it's conservative Severa. That's what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, that's a surprise. Usually we do not see a conservative Severa.
Oh, Chris Severa is definitely one to save gas and try to make it go the distance. That is probably his MO, because I don't think well, I'm going to say it. I don't think he thought he could beat these guys straight pace, but he definitely can out-strategize them.
Yeah, that's definitely what he wants to do. He definitely is going to try to do that. But, like we saw on Thursday, raw pace was enough to get Joseph Lester up to that lead and take that win. And, could we see that same thing with, Eric Kling or Pedro? They've been showing a tremendous amount of pace. They're able to really lay down those laps. You're seeing the sacrifice that Severa is making by not going as quick as his potential is. He's losing time because of that. And, that time might not equal, with these guys having to pit, they're going to get off a pit road. Is he going to have, made up enough time because of that?
I think he's just trying to keep Brian Johnson right there, and he knows there's got to be a pivot point. And so what I mean when I say that, there is a distance that he can't let those guys get out in front of him in order for this to work. Does that make sense? He has to be able to keep the leaders within a certain gap or distance in order for his strategy to work on fuel.
And the thing is, he's not, running very much faster than Brian Johnson right now, and I think this is on purpose. I think that, he's almost using him for the draft. I mean, even though the corners here, a lot of corners, but there are some straightaways, and that could, even though it will minutely help him, it still would help him.
Absolutely. I mean, you're spot on there. That's what Severa's doing. I mean, that's the one thing I'm thinking. Now we got him figured out. I'm trying to get into the head of the 95 and the 114. I want to see what these guys are doing. Even Jose Acosta back there. I mean, we've got a lot of racing left to go. And it's possible.
We do.
It's possible that the leaders might even take each other out. Who knows?
Definitely could see that. I mean, we've already seen them have a little bit of contact here. That 114 desperate to see himself in victory lane, and he's desperate to talk to us here tonight, it seems like.
And it's going to come down to push or shove between these two, and so we're just going to be sitting here waiting to see who pushes who and who shoves back.
And this is the closest race on the racetrack, the fight for the lead. Everyone else not that far from me, or, pretty far from each other. You do see Greg Wyszynski and Jose Acosta, though, battling.
Yeah, I'm thinking at this point, though, Chris Severa's going to, I don't know what he's doing.
Jose Acosta, I do believe, might lose that position to Wyszynski. Wyszynski on the inside. And he has made the pass up into the top 5. And he was one of the ones we were talking about before points-wise. How, if he has a good night here tonight, it could propel him up to second place in the points, because I do believe Ryan Strunk not here tonight.
That's right. And further down that order, man, it is kind of tight there on the points. It's not really tight up top. Well, it's not tight up top, but it is definitely tight as you go down the rungs on that ladder. But, the funny thing is we're still sitting here, and the leaders are battling it out. We have 24 laps to go. We've got 8 cars on the lead lap.
This thing has been flying by, I'll tell you what. I think this is all coming down to Eric Kling just not making any mistakes. He's rising to the pressure here that Pedro's putting on him. Because, I mean, if he made a mistake, Pedro, he's right there. He'd be ready to pounce. But Eric has just not made any mistakes. He's been hitting his marks, and he's been really consistent. Here comes Pedro on the inside trying to make something happen, but he's not able to get there.
You know what he got? He got the door closed on him. You ever had that screen door snap back in your face real quick? Well, that's what just happened to Pedro Enriquez. And every time he comes up, you can expect that. Eric Kling knows that his best shot of beating Enriquez is not letting Enriquez get by.
I'll tell you what, he is so close that he could literally touch him.
Sorry, I said Enriquez, but his name is Enrique.
Oh, and he attacks that. Look at how he attacked that curb. I think that's what Eric Kling was referring to earlier, that he has that propensity to make a mistake here, driving it way too hard. That's one thing we see all the time. Guys chasing that carrot on the stick, and they forget to maybe hit their marks, take a little bit too many liberties, and those liberties can bite you.
Yep, just when you least expect it, it just grabs you.
And all it takes is one mistake here from Pedro. I mean, if he goes off the racing surface, spins that race car out, Eric's in the money. Unless Chris Severa makes it and somehow plays the spoiler here tonight. There is still a fight going on here for the 5th position. Jose Acosta has not left the backside here of Greg Wyszynski.
Paul Olsen coming out pit road 1 lap short of bypassing Al Kozlowski.
I would assume he's going to come right back out. I would. I mean, I'm going to get that position from Mr. Kozlowski. I mean, 9th place is a whole lot better than 10th. This has truly been a dogfight here between the top 2. Eric Kling and Pedro Enrique. Oh, and look at that. A little bit of tire smoke coming out of that. Maybe locking up the brakes a little bit. Kling has just been keeping him back there. I think that Pedro getting frustrated. And frustrated does not lend to, consistency, I'd say.
Yeah, we saw that happen with Lester as well on Thursday night. You know, just the frustration of not being able to get around the car in front of you, even when you believe you're faster than that car. But here he comes right now, and once again, they're clean closing the door. I mean, right now these guys are battling it out, and I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. It's 22 to go, be 21 at the line.
That is correct. Going to be 21 laps to go here. And man, the fight, I think, is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. But if Pedro actually manages to get around Eric, I think the fight is done. But I don't think Eric is just not going to let that happen. And the thing is, if Pedro gets around Eric too, you know, maybe Eric learns a little something from watching him. I mean, could be the case. I mean, it's one thing to get into, you know, when you get into the lead. We haven't seen Pedro actually take the lead here so far tonight.
Yeah, he's going to try to do that, though. He is definitely, if you watch, he is setting up. He is going to try to overtake the 95,
but he hasn't gotten there yet, though. You know, once he gets there, could he, you know, fold under the pressure? You know, because Kling, he's been out front all day long, and he has not seen, you know, we haven't seen any weakness from him, really. But, you know, Pedro, we have not seen him in the lead. You know, will that car handle different? Maybe he won't, you know, because he's probably been watching the rest of these guys and figuring out what they're doing. And, you know, if he's out in front, he might not have that judge point, I guess, reference. What a job Eric has done keeping him behind him. I mean, if you were to ask me who was going to win this race, just based on pure speed, I would say Pedro. But Eric has been showing a tremendous amount of racecraft, I'd say. As right now, Pedro and him separated by a half a second right now, or 5/10. Brian Johnson, he is right now 16 seconds back from these two. They are in a whole nother world.
Yes, I think, I'm still waiting. Still wondering when they're going to plan on coming down pit road, because that's
Greg Wyszynski. Sorry about that, Big Al. Greg Wyszynski actually taking a trip down pit road. But you're right. Definitely going to be pretty much the thing we're going to have to keep an eye on is when these guys go down pit road. And whether some guys go down at all. And look at that. There goes Pedro Enrique down pit road. Trying to probably shortcut Eric Kling.
Committed to pit, you know, and that's the thing. We saw that happen on Thursday night. A lot of drivers didn't commit to pit until it was too late. So I think you got to come in early. You know, put yourself on a different cycle sequence, get back out there and just drive the wheels off that thing. That's what I think Pedro is getting ready to do.
And one thing, you know, we haven't probably discussed is, you know, whether he takes tires or not. Maybe he just fuels up and gets going, you know, to limit the amount of time he spends on pit road. I mean, if tires don't matter, I think that's exactly what he just did. He only spent 7.9 on pit road. Could have maybe taken 2.
Looks like that would have been right sides right there. Now Eric Kling's coming to buy Greg Wyszynski. That means he's going to put Wyszynski a lap down.
Yeah, definitely going a lap down, but probably temporary. We know that Eric Kling has to pit here. Greg Wyszynski probably going to be able to get his lap back, hopefully. And one thing about it that makes it interesting and makes me think that Chris Rivera's strategy is not going to work is just because of the fact that, you know, Jose Acosta only spent, you know, 8 seconds on pit road. I mean, Eric Kling might do the same thing.
Jose Acosta's on pit road.
Pedro Enrique, I mean.
Eric Kling also on pit road, but Pedro Enrique is making the delta now because he is behind Chris Rivera. So if he catches Chris Rivera, you know, Chris Rivera is going to cycle through to the lead once Brian Johnson pits. But he'll still have to pass Chris Rivera in order to take the lead.
Well, right now, I do believe he is actually 7.2 seconds back from Chris Rivera. So that's going to be a hard march, I do believe. It's going to be very difficult to do. But then again, Rivera has been slowing down to probably save gas. He's, you know, hitting minute 17 second laps right now. I would assume Pedro is going to come out here and probably hit minute 15.
Yeah. And it's got to be go time for Rivera. I mean, you can't conserve anymore. I guess you'd have to, because Otherwise, these guys are going to run you down. He's got Kling and Enrique both now coming back on his haunches.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Kling definitely catching up here as he has actually went down pit road. Of course, Brian Johnson still out on the racetrack. Look, Severa, you know, I wonder if Johnson maybe is trying to stay out also.
Well, so it's possible. Those two are on the same team, so they might have the same strategy. And they had been running, you know, nose to tail, so that would allow them to kind of conserve fuel, at least Severa anyway, because you do get benefits from drafting, no matter how small it may be.
Well, Kling, you know, was able to have that pit stop, and I do believe he also did a similar thing here. He actually spent 8 seconds on pit road, just like Pedro did. Able to come out in front of Pedro. So, you know, you would have thought, you know, Pedro probably wanted to try to shortcut and get out in front of Eric Kling, but Kling just kind of robbed him of that by pitting not too long after him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's exactly what those guys were saying. It's like when he goes, we're going. And we got whatever he does, that's what we got to do to get back out. I mean, that's the key. Track position. That's what we've been talking about here this whole time. And Kling not wanting to give that up, and that right now is the reason why he's still going to be trying to get back up here to the lead. Those two right now currently being shown in 3rd and 4th place, respectively.
Of course, I do believe this is going to be the fight for Kling because Eric Kling right now 3.7 seconds back from Chris Severa. Not far at all, and he has been running very much faster than Chris Severa. So I would not be surprised to see soon that they're able to fight their way even up to maybe even Brian Johnson, just the pace that they're showing right now. And Jose Acosta right now, he was up there, I do believe, in the top 5, you know, battling with Greg Wyszynski.
Contact between Enrique and Kling. Enrique just gave him a love tap from way back. I mean, if nothing says I love you, I hope he sends him some flowers after that one there, Brian.
Yeah, I did not see that on the camera, so we took a quick rewind here. Yeah, look, Eric Kling gets really tight on the exit there, and Pedro gets tight right there with him and you know, gives him a little bit of a love tap.
It looks like he's trying to give him some more love right now as these two are continually battling each other. 16 laps to go, Kling goes wide. I mean, that's the first time Eric Kling has taken that turn that wide, and I got to believe definitely right now he's trying to fight for position to make contact again. Kling going to try to do whatever he can, but now Enrique already driving by him.
That just got incredibly physical. These guys body slamming one another. Kling desperate to get back there to the 114. So, man, this could get hairy here if Pedro makes a mistake and finds himself in, you know, right there in distance with Eric Kling. He could find himself a bumper here.
Yeah, I think Kling is definitely going to try to get close, and as soon as given the opportunity, he's just going to drive it in on him. But right now, Kling is playing catch-up for the first time today. Godspeed.
See, Brian Johnson is still out there in front in the lead right now, as he's actually catching up to, I do believe, Jose Acosta, getting ready to put him a lap down.
Yeah, and Acosta is just recently pitted, so he is good to go to the end of this thing. If you look at Johnson and Severa's lap times, though, it seems that these two are picking the pace up just a little bit here, as we are 15 to go.
Well, they kind of have to pick up the pace, considering you got Pedro and, you know, Enrique chasing you down. Then again, I mean, these guys battling with each other is not doing them any favors. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys actually incurring a little bit of damage because of that whole contact. I mean, that was definitely some hard racing right there.
Yeah, and I was just going to say kudos to Eric Kling, though, for putting up a good fight as long as he did, because, you know, Pedro had to work for that one. He did not just give it to him, that's for sure.
And I don't think Kling's done. I mean, he stayed right there. He's staying right there on Pedro, and you know, you can see a lot of times he's throwing it in a little bit harder to try to even get close enough Because I mean, I think some paybacks in order here. We might not have needed to name this one the Charles Shaw race. Maybe the payback at 110.
Yeah, the problem right now for Brian Johnson is Jose Acosta. Jose is doing everything he can to stay on the lead lap, and that's making things a little bit more difficult for Brian Johnson, and I think he probably would want it to be right now.
Oh yeah, he definitely is having his hands full here with Jose Acosta. He's definitely slowing him down. But I mean, that's just, he has every right to try to race and stay on the lead lap here. Unfortunately, though, no caution is going to save Jose Acosta.
No, he's just going to have to continue to try to drive that car faster than he has been thus far if he wants to actually stay on the lead lap, because eventually Johnson's going to try to get around him now. Jose did just come from the pits, and looking at his pit stop, he actually had a 4-tire stop. So, Brian Johnson locking it up right there at the end of that. Now his fingers are going to come out. Now he is getting frustrated with Jose Acosta, and I think if Jose doesn't move, he will get moved here pretty soon. Now Jose Acosta, as a result of that, and Brian Johnson loses it as well, and Jose Acosta, both of those two lost it. Now Jose is kind of running out of the way. Chris Severa is being attacked. He is bumped. Now he's
no!
Severa into the wall with Jose Acosta, and there goes Pedro and Eric Clean right by. Yeah, Severa's probably not going to be too happy about that one.
Definitely not. I think Pedro Enrique was taking advantage of the situation there. You can watch right here from Chris Severa's point of view here as Brian Johnson loses it, tries to go underneath Jose Acosta, and gets loose. Oh no, I think that might have been Severa's. He got really loose there in the corner.
Yes, he hit those rumble strips, and they kind of got him a little bit out of sorts, if you will. And the rest was just gravity. But yeah, so unfortunate for Brian Johnson, though, because like I said, he was getting very frustrated with Jose Acosta. Jose tried to move out of the way, and then both of those two guys ended up spinning out, which just kind of just dumped the Kool-Aid over there, Brian. They just spilled all the Kool-Aid.
And with that, actually, Chris Severa, we thought he was going to try to go the distance. He's actually down pit road right now.
Yeah, no doubt getting damage fixed, man, and probably getting his blood pressure medicine as well, because I know he is probably not too happy about that whole thing that went down. He had a shot to win this thing. He exercised his pit strategy. He was going to be up front and then just trying to fend those two guys off. But I just don't think Pedro is really in the mood for being slowed up here today.
No, not at all. But then again, I mean, you saw it with Chris Severa. I mean, he hit that rumble strip too hard, and it got him out of sorts. And that, Pedro really didn't have a lot of room to be able to even try to slow down to not hit him.
Yeah, they were almost 3 wide there in a corner that's not meant to be 3 wide. 2 wide is a struggle, especially if you're going to try to maintain race pace. So I think it was just a racing incident. But my only comment on it is I would love to talk to Brian Johnson to figure out how he felt about, that process as it went down.
Yeah, I don't think we should bother him right now. I don't know if he'd probably be able to have a conversation while trying to drive around this road course. I know I wouldn't be able to.
No, I'm saying, like, currently he's in 3rd place. It's just
we could, yeah, talk to him.
That's one of those questions there at the end of the race that I would love to ask.
Chris Severa must have received a meatball flag here, as he is actually still on pit road. Look at the tire there on the the left front there, Big Al. Kind of can see that thing is kind of a little off kilter here. I think he might have had worse damage than we kind of thought.
That tire's not just off kilter. That bad boy is it's almost off the car.
I think that's kind of highlights the new damage model here. Because that is something we haven't really seen before here. But that was definitely, that tire was all kind of askewed. Might not even, like you said, be even connected. But Greg Wyszynski soon to find himself a lap down here as Pedro Enrique right there behind him. Looks like Wyszynski going to let him go right by as I do believe now 10 laps to go here.
10 laps to go before we put this thing in the books. Now, if Eric Kling is going to do anything whatsoever, it's time to do it. Now, I just don't know if he's got enough to actually catch up to Pedro. So the key is going to be watching the Pedro to see if he's actually able to keep that 114 clean and out of trouble. And we've seen a couple of drivers actually lose it here so far tonight. So that is still a possibility, you know, as Pedro is still out there pushing that car to the envelope. And as long as he does that, you know, it's still going to give us an opportunity to possibly maybe see him lose it. Or I'm not saying that we want to, but he is definitely pushing that thing to the limit.
That he is, still hitting minute 14 second laps right now, fastest on the racetrack by far. He is a half a second quicker than Eric Kling right now. I want to give a huge shout out though. We mentioned, you know, Robert Pattengale, who has been just doing phenomenal here lately. I mean, he has just been taking care of business. You know, last few races we've seen him in, he has gotten top fives, you know, 6th place, and it looks like he's well on pace to get him another top 5 here tonight, Big Al. 4th place right now currently.
Absolutely.
What a job there from that 17.
Yeah, way to go, Robert Pattengale. You know, he's doing exactly what he needs to do, Brian. He's out here. He's keeping his car clean. He's just running his own race. Speaking of running their own race, it looks like Enrique is playing in the dirt just a little bit there. He got a little discombobulated coming out of that turn there. A little bit too much on the loose end, and got his tires a little sandy.
Yeah, definitely could cause some handling issues. We've seen that plenty of times before. You know, you get that sand on that tire. It takes a minute to get it off. That's for sure, and that could be exactly what Eric Kling needs, and you know, could show a little bit some chinks in the armor here for Pedro Enrique. Could he be, you know, maybe make a mistake here? I mean, I definitely would assume that he's probably, you know, definitely adrenaline going through his veins right now, considering just the way he was racing, you know, Chris Severa, and you know, of course, you know, having that kind of incident happen. I wouldn't be surprised if he's even got a little bit of front end damage. You know, could that start to play a role here? Not over by a long shot here. Eric Kling still has a chance here to maybe come home with this victory.
Well, yeah, but like I said, it's go time. If he's going to do that, he's going to have to put the hammer down, because Pedro is not slowing down. Brian, he has still got the hammer down, and he is flying around this racetrack. So if Eric Kling is, if he's going to have to get up there if he wants to see what's happening.
Well, right now, only 4 people on the lead lap. Robert Pattengale, next one to go a lap down. He's not that far away.
Looks like Brian Johnson is now down pit road, so he'll be actually getting the splash of gas that he needs in order to keep this thing going.
And that could even give Pattengale what it takes to maybe even take over 3rd. Wouldn't that be something? But
yeah, that'd be spectacular. But Brian Johnson just taking a splash and go there, so he is actually getting back onto the racing surface.
And Pedro Enrique just putting down Robert Pattengale a lap. So now that leaves only 3 on the lead lap. Chris Severa is actually out of the race car now, 4 laps down. And that's going to put Kenny Powell up to 7th place. Kenny Powell definitely got to be happy with that. I know he's not had the best race here, hadn't shown a lot of pace, but he definitely has stuck with it, and that's what's going to be important here about tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. To everybody that's still on the racetrack, man, a big shout out, hands off to you guys, hands up to you guys. Congratulations. I mean, this is a marathon. You know, this is not a sprint. And in order to come out here and put those laps down, keep your car going, especially, you know, with the new damage model, because it is, you know, it is relevant, you know, as we saw that Chris Severa's tire was scanted. I mean, it's awesome. It just makes it more realistic.
I do believe next time on we'll have 6 laps to go. Pedro Enrique right now out in front has a 4.2 second lead on Eric Kling. Turning some of the fastest laps of the race still. Minute 14.7 last time by. Just some blazing quick laps here from Pedro. That 114, I think he has just been an unstoppable force here tonight. You could even get in his way and he don't care. He gonna put the bumper to you and take that position. He has been just obliterating the competition here tonight. Looking a lot like what Joseph Lester did on, I'd say, on Thursday. Wouldn't you say, Big Al?
I say absolutely, boss.
But Brian Johnson right now in third. He is actually 45 seconds back from Eric Kling right now. So definitely quite a distance back.
Yeah, and if Pedro keeps running the way he's running, he's gonna catch Johnson because I mean this guy's still putting down laps that are sub 15, even though we're speculating that his car had a little bit of damage on it.
Well, here, let's take a nice cockpit camera here from Pedro Enrique. Let's show the audience here a couple laps, and we'll be right back. We are back. Jose Acosta now out to 5.3 seconds of a lead. Now 5 laps to go, soon to be 4 to go here in the Charles Shaw 110. And what a race it has been so far here tonight. I tell you what, someone has rose to the top here, Pedro Enrique. Eric Kling right now hanging out right now in second place. Probably a lot of disappointment with that camp. Definitely wanted to come out here and win this race, but unfortunate. I can't wait to talk with Eric. I'm sure probably going to be a little bit heated from him, but still going to be worth chatting with him. Also, Brian Johnson, I mean, he's going to definitely have some very interesting inputs. Wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Oh yeah, this race has not been without its own little casualties and conflict. It's like we got 4 to go here. If Pedro keeps doing what he's doing, I mean, I've been watching him. I just can't seem to find anything wrong with his form. This guy's really, I think he's got this track figured out, Brian.
And I think nothing replaces, having that muscle memory. Hopefully we get the chance to speak with him, Pedro, just considering, I mean, if we get the chance to talk to him, I'd love to see, what his practice has been like. Has he been putting a lot of time in? Because I think that, the way he's driving this race car, it seems like he's had to put a ton of laps in.
Yeah, Sonoma's a racetrack that's been there for a while, and if you like it, well, it's yours.
Well, what you're saying is probably he's, probably had a long storied history with this racetrack. Maybe not put practice in for this particular race, but I mean, could definitely, just a collective, knowing this racetrack. I mean, a lot of times, I know when I first got on iRacing, Monza was one of my favorite tracks, and I feel like I know it pretty much like the back of my hand. Kind of like riding a bicycle. Once you learn the kind of the rhythm, it doesn't kind of leave you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Look at that. I do believe we're soon to have almost 2 laps to go here. Or going to be 2 laps to go next time by when Pedro Enrique crosses the line. Of course, Eric Kling right now over 7 seconds, almost 8 seconds back from Pedro right now. We were watching Robert Pattengale, thought he was going to get a nice top 4 position. Looks like he's actually fallen back now behind Greg Wyszynski. Wyszynski now it looks like he's going to get the 4th position.
But yeah, though, still, I mean, that is a tremendous showing here for both Pattingale, Powell, and Wachinski. You know, good on those guys that came out here tonight. They battled through adversity and only a lap down. You know, that's nothing to scoff at.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, especially considering the competition that has showed up here tonight. I mean, they definitely have raised the bar. I mean, even farther than I think what we saw on Thursday. I mean, I think, you know what I would have loved to see, Big Al? Pedro versus Joseph Lester. That would have been a good fight.
Yeah, absolutely. We might have to send that one up.
Yeah, I don't know what we could do there. We're going to have to contact those guys, get in contact with them and say, hey, you guys got to race it out.
Well, we'll look at the amount of time that it took them, but I think Pedro actually did best Lester. But Lester had to battle a lot, though. He was behind DeCiani for a lot, though, if you remember. So Pedro, he's really been out front, and since he kind of got out front, he hadn't really looked back.
Oh, yeah, and he actually just turned his fastest lap of the race once again here. Minute 14.651 is now the white flag showing out here. Final lap here from Pedro Enrique.
Isn't that amazing that he turned his fastest lap the next to the last lap of the race?
That is something else. I mean, this guy has definitely been putting some great laps down. Just been a pleasure to watch masterclass here. I mean, this guy, I think, is the definition of a road course ringer and determined to bring this race car to victory lane, and I think he's going to do just that as he takes the final circuit around this almost 2-mile racetrack. We appreciate everybody tuning in here for the Charles Shaw 110 here for the Tucson Sound Art Tucson Sound Art Cup and Super Cup Series. And we have been having a blast here tonight. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you'd like to, maybe give us a like or a subscribe on iRacing Stock Car Association's Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. But here we go. Pedro Enrique going to cross the line for the final time, and he is going to be your winner here tonight at the Charles Shaw 110. Eric Kling soon to be crossing the line here. And there he goes. He's going to be able to capitalize and finish second here. Brian Johnson still yet to have crossed the line, but he is coming up on it here shortly. And looks like he's going to get himself a solid third. You mentioned it before on Thursday. He did very well in that race. And it looks like he is going to secure a third-place finish. Definitely going to be excited to talk with him. He was the only one to be able to stay on the lead lap with these two other drivers.
Yeah, definitely a long, hard-fought battle here tonight. This race ran a little bit longer than our races usually do, but as to just the sheer complexity of this track right here. But hey, as usual, the ISCA does not disappoint. This showing was exciting. We had a lot of exciting incidents to talk about.
That we did, and it looks like Greg Wachinski is going to come home 4th place. Robert Pattingale in 5th place. Jose Acosta in 6th place. Kenny Powell 7th. 8th place is going to be Chris Severa. 9th place Al Kozlowski. 10th place Paul Olson. 11th place Kendall Levron. 12th place Travis Manning. And 13th Kyle Green, who I do believe did not make a start. Oh, no, he actually did. Just didn't see a lot of him here tonight. But Pedro Enrique, tonight's big winner. We're going to take a quick step away, and we'll be right back with your post-race show. And we are back live, ladies and gentlemen. We do have our, our third place finisher, Mr. Brian Johnson. Great job to you, man. I know you had a kind of a mistake there, almost put you in flux to maybe not even finishing third place, but you were able to hang on, not dwell on it too much, and got back to driving. Man, was it a tough fight here tonight?
Yeah, first off, congrats to Pedro and Eric. I mean, they were class of the field, obviously, super fast, but try to play some strategy there at the end. I think me and Chris were on the same strategy, saving fuel, hoping to make it to the end, but trying to pass 42 car. Don't know what happened. I don't know if he knew if I was a leader or not, but try to be patient with him. But he ended up going off track and caused me to spin and heated up my tires. I ended up getting into the wall there, but kind of ruined our shot. But overall, it was a good race up until that point. Just racing the track, having a good time.
It definitely seemed like you were having a good time. I know you did pretty well on Thursday too. I mean, do you feel like that was important to your success here tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Any road course is all about the screen time and time behind the wheel. So whatever you put into it really shows in the race for sure.
Well, definitely seemed like it, man. Are you happy to see Sonoma go, or you wish you could have maybe another chance at it?
No, actually, I enjoy road courses. I enjoy Sonoma. I may not be the best at it. I'll be the first one to tell you guys, but yeah, I actually enjoy racing these. It's nice to go ride every now and then.
Definitely seems like it, man. Well, great job to you. Third place, definitely had your own trials and tribulations, but you made it through and you finished on the lead lap. Not a lot of guys tonight could say that for sure, but gotta ask, how are you feeling about next week? I do believe Nashville Super Speedway on the docket.
Yeah, I think we're going to Chicagoland, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that correct? I'm sorry about that. Yeah, my mistake. So Chicagoland.
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Worked on the set yesterday and a little bit this morning, so we'll see. Hopefully I put together a good piece, and we'll go out there and give it our best and see what happens.
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing what you can do, man. I mean, definitely after a performance like this, I mean, Chicagoland's got to be much easier. I mean, do you like the mile and a half a little bit better, or?
I'm more of a short track guy. Chicagoland, it does take a little bit more driving because of the abrasive surface. The tires do wear very quickly. There's a lot of fall off, I've noticed. So the car's going to be a handful, I think. So it should be a good race.
Definitely the opposite of what we saw here today. I mean, definitely tires didn't seem like they mattered quite as much here. Of course, fuel also going to be concerned next week. We definitely appreciate you chatting with us. Who can we shout out after your third place finish here tonight?
Yeah, shout out to Tucson Sound Art, Butt Kicker. You guys up in the booth, you guys do a fantastic job every week. Shout out to, of course, you, Brian, Big Al, and also Kenny Powell. And got a shout out to the guys back in G&G.
All right, man. Well, we definitely appreciate your time. That is Brian Johnson, your third place finisher here tonight. Big Al, I do believe you were standing by with Eric Kling.
Hey, Mr. Clean, this is Big Al. You got me?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Man, what a show you put on here tonight. You had a fast car. That thing was a rocket. And you were making it mighty wide there trying to keep Pedro behind you. So what are your thoughts on this whole experience?
It was fun. I knew from practice that Pedro was going to be quick, and so was Chris and a couple of those other guys. And it was definitely one of those things. Early on, I could tell that he was going to have that speed just because of how quickly he caught up with us. Obviously, as the race went on, it got a lot faster. I felt like I was able to keep up with Pedro quite a bit. I was able to match the speeds, but I think he was able to minimize the mistakes, and of course I seem to have all of them. And that's where the end result was.
Did your car the handling of your car it obviously got faster as the race went on. Did you make any adjustments whatsoever, or you just run the same set from the beginning to the end?
Same set, same tires, no changes. It's kind of hard to tell. I do feel a minimal. I do feel some changes of the car throughout a race, right? But same tires, and I feel like maybe heat in the tires can affect how it drives, how it corners. But it was the same car through and through.
Did you notice any difference in the handling characteristics with the new uh, update versus, say, previous?
Yeah, you can slide it around a lot more. The car feels a lot like the older car, which is what I was missing. It used to be it was kind of like point and shoot type of thing, and you had grip or you didn't. This you can kind of maneuver it around and manhandle it a little bit. You could try and force the rotation of the car without worrying about Uh, I mean, you still have a little bit of worry about spinning around, but not nearly as much as you used to.
That's awesome. So we're headed to Chicagoland next week. You guys are definitely going to be coming in with some pretty strong momentum. What can we expect to see from the 95 camp going into Chicagoland?
We'll see. Historically, it's not one of my better tracks. Short tracks and road courses are going to be the ones that I like, but Chicagoland's been known to put on some good races. So we'll see. I'll practice and we'll see where that goes.
Well, awesome. Great showing this week. Good luck to you next week. Strong performance tonight. Congratulations on bringing home second place. Before I let you go, anybody would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, G&G teammates and everyone for all the help that they give. Kenny for putting this on. You guys for uh, doing this for week in and week out, and that's pretty much it.
Well, hey, thank you again, sir, for your time. Congratulations on that second place finish, and we'll hopefully talk to you next week.
Yep, thank you.
That was Eric Kling, your stage 1 and 2 winner, if I'm not mistaken, and second place finisher in the race overall. I do believe we're not going to be able to get in touch with Pedro Enrique, unfortunately. But I do believe we have a certain Greg Wachinski here in the booth. Greg, you down for a quick interview?
Sure, buddy. What's up?
Just wanted to see what your thoughts are. I mean, I know you were the first guy a lap down here, fourth place, so solid point state here for you. And also, I think you're going to be moving up a little bit up the leaderboards, just considering Ryan Strunk not here tonight. Or how are you feeling about that?
I mean, I'm just glad to get through the whole race and not wreck.
Definitely a good point. I mean, how is your endurance level right now? I mean, do you feel like you got better at this racetrack as the night went on?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with this track. It's not that I dislike it. It's just I'm not as fast as some of these other guys.
We definitely seem like you've shown a lot of growth here. We were surprised to see you got by Robert Pattengale. He was up there in fourth. What happened with him? Do you know?
I think I got lucky there. He said he had enough fuel to make it. And I think he just lost it off of one of the corners.
Oh no! Well, you definitely did a good job. I know you were battling with Jose Acosta for a lot of the race. Excellent work, team, man. Felt like we give you a little spot out, shout out here for fourth place, even though we're not able to talk to our winner here. Appreciate your time, man. How are you feeling about Chicago? Coming up.
That should be fun. It's a fun track.
All right, man. Who can we give a quick shout out for you?
Well, thanks to you guys up there. You do a great job doing the broadcast. Kenny, ISCA, Tucson Sound Art, G&G Racing.
Well, we definitely appreciate your time, man. Thanks for talking with us here tonight. With that, I do believe that is going to be the conclusion for tonight's race. Excellent work there from everybody out there. It was an exciting one from start to finish. Big shout out to Charles Shaw for sponsoring us here in the Charles Shaw 110. Big shout out to Tucson Sound Art. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe, and we definitely appreciate everyone out there tuning in. Thank you.